Oh no, I have forgotten to uncover my microphone, my webcam. There it is! Hi, I've done myself up today. Don't mind that. We're gonna play some Last of Us today, because I decided that's what I want to do. Also, I don't know why my hair is so fluffy over here. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. Fruity, thank you for the contribution to the Alien stream. That's gonna be great. I'm excited about it. This is a little better. It's a little more tame now. Great. Yeah. So we were gonna do Spirit Hunter NG this weekend, but I've decided that I don't want to deal with bad translations for the time being. Yeah, so we're gonna put that on hold indefinitely. But we gotta go see the Mushroom Men. It's time to go see the Mushroom Men. I was kind of torn between doing this and, I'm yelling and I don't need to. I'm trying to work on that. I was torn between doing this and finishing up Oxenfree. And while I'm very excited about Oxenfree, I think the people that are, like, super invested in that usually show up during the weekdays, so I'm gonna save that for Monday. I mean, always only yelling, but I was yelling more than normal. I could feel the strain on my throat, and I shouldn't be doing that, so we're gonna do some mushroom partying. We're gonna party with some mushrooms. It's gonna be great. Yeah. It's been a weird day. It's been a weird couple of days. I was in Devo mode. It was the strained yelling, and I need to not do that. I was yelling at him just before going live, so that's probably what it was. I say yelling. Yelling in the way that I yell at him. I was mimicking him. So I got stuck a little bit, but that's okay. So yeah, we've started a little early. Not too terribly early, but a little early. And I also plan on going a smidge late. I don't know how much later than normal, but I just want to play video games. And I'm really liking a lot of the games that we're playing right now, so I just wanted to play my dang video games. And I decided I needed a break from Spiritfarer, because I've been playing that off stream. And crying a lot to it. Good crying, but still crying. So let's cry about The Last of Us instead, right? That's how this is gonna work. Alright, get out of here. Get out of here, Spotify. I also have my air filter on much higher than I usually do because I was cleaning a little bit earlier. If it's loud, if you can hear it, let me know and I'll move it somewhere else. I'm trying to get ahead of the dust before it totally fucks me over, basically, is the move here. You don't hear it? Good. Great. It's technically behind the microphone, and I have the whole back half of the mic set to not pick up sound, so I was hoping, but I can hear it past my headphones. Just the slight sound, and I wasn't sure. It's true though. Dust begets dust. No, I've been doing a lot of cleaning lately. It's been great. It's been great. Be proud of me. Also, a note. All civilians seeking resident status must go through the following checks. Document check. Confirm the applicant has a signed and approved FEDRA application for QZ transfer and is within the stated commission window. Military-issued IDs should be examined closely and cross-checked with the Central Command database. Infection scan. Scan all applicants. Any positive reading should result in immediate quarantine of individual by ushering them to the sick line. Use all necessary force. Note, when separating families, it is important to keep everyone as calm as possible. Any applicants causing trouble should be escorted to administration. Decontamination. All refugees must go through the decontamination. Why is this so hard to say right now? All refugees must go through the decontamination shower and be doused with antifungal spray. Physical exam must then be conducted with candidates' records updated to indicate their workability. Are you just not gonna sit for very long, Ellie? You're more antsy than I am. Ma'am. Security screening. Only one suitcases permitted per applicant. Personal artifacts must be potential contaminants. If in doubt, incinerate the object. Any and all contraband materials, lethal weapons, firearms, explosives, dangerous chemicals, illicit drugs. I like how lethal weapons and firearms are considered different things. I understand what they're trying to say. Lethal weapons being like knives and shit like that, but that just feels so stupid. Also, give me something and I can turn it into a lethal weapon. I am I might have been up all night watching some goon play Fire Emblem. What of it? What of it? It was a good time. I enjoyed it. Emmy, I love you too. Hi, you're great. You're both great. Listen. Listen. You're both great. Listen. I'm gonna sit up like super straight. Also, why my camera keeps moving and I don't know how or why, but it does. It's fine. It's fine. I remember when we were playing this last, I couldn't figure out where to go. Fun fact. I still don't know where to go. And that's fine. No, we love you! I think I found it. Is this it? Is this where I'm supposed to go?
Oh, so you're a reader, huh?
This is where I'm supposed to go. Love, love! Ellie, I can't hear you. You're very far away. How's game sound for you guys, by the way? No! Just gonna be us screaming at each other constantly. It's fine. Everything is fine. Game is quiet. Okay, hold on a second. I mean, granted, not much is happening. It's just Joel breathing.
You gotta be crazy to string up soldiers.
Yeah, you get people desperate enough, they'll do just about anything.
And the people
That's the issue.
They're the ones we've been fighting here?
That'd be my bet.
Cool, good. I had forgotten to turn my television off. Like, I forgot to mute my TV. So I was a little confused as to why Ellie was echoing. It's because I did it bad. Alright, if it gets too loud, once the fighting starts, let me know. I do
Let's see where
that.
this leads us.
I'm usually very good about it, but I got too excited to start stream that I just didn't. I didn't set anything up properly.
Watch yourself on these drops.
Pills! Hey, friends. Listen. Fruity, if you don't stream tonight, or even if you do, afterwards, we should all play games together. Everything sucks and I just want to play with my friends, so if y'all want to play video games later, let me know. Yeah! It was really fun playing Age of Empires with y'all last night. Just like, I don't know, I like doing it on stream with everyone, but it's also nice to just do it not on stream. Sometimes just to play games together. I don't know. It was nice. Anyway, I'm just gonna be What? Yeah? Welcome to advertising, child. Hi, David. I guess you could also play video games with us if you wanted. That's acceptable. No, it's absolutely acceptable. With us? I guess. I said what I said. No, I'd be delighted if you joined us for video games. Listen.
Make that jump.
Joel, try harder. There it is. There it is. Yeah, okay. It's very dark in here. Before I go get the thing they actually want me to get, what's over here? I was gonna say something that I completely forgot what it was. That's fine. This is basically how my life has been specifically in the last couple of weeks, but, I mean, this is always how it goes. It's just been worse. It's fine. It fine. Is this where I'm supposed to go eventually with Ellie? We'll figure it out. It doesn't matter. I just want to get all the things. Hello? Mushrooms. Yeah. So I do want to get back to Spirit Hunter at some point. But I got enough nonsense going on in my life that I don't necessarily want to struggle through the bad translations for the time being. So I might do one of the other survival horror games that I have on the weekends. Heck, we might even just start The Evil Within next weekend? We'll see. It goes down tonight! We're gonna take the Eastern Checkpoint, stash some extra supplies at the Regal Apartments. It's marked with a red X. Great! But we also might do one of the Resident Evils. I don't know. There's so many games that I want to play right now that it's hard to choose. Can't go up there. Sad. I guess we could probably also do... You know what? We might do... We're never gonna run out of games, Fruity. Listen. I don't know how many times I gotta tell ya. We're never gonna run out of games. I know I did talk a little bit about...
Hey, there's one of those floating raft things again. Can we use it?
Ellie, I know. No, I know. I was looking for supplies. Ma'am. Could probably do Man of Medan next weekend, honestly. That was on my... What are... Don't notice me. That was one of the options I...
Oh, this place is bad.
Yeah, it's not great, Joel. We gotta go. Man of Medan was one of the options that I had for today. But we could finish that in a single weekend.
Get on. We're coming to the hotel.
Two 3-hour sessions. Ellie, you were gonna fall into the water. You want the other side? Because the other side is where the ladder is. Do you want up there? Go on. Go on, get! I don't understand why Joel can't just climb up the bus.
Set up that plank like they did.
Like, there are... There's plenty of things for us to grab onto. We don't have to be tiny to do that. It's fine. Go on, get! Gotta get... Just soaking in the green juice. Consider, is this pickle juice? Where are the geese? I hear them, but I see none. Joel. My guy. It's fine. This is fine. It's a pickle juice pool. Sebastian would be so jealous.
This place stinks.
Yeah, it's all the
wood's
pickle
all
juice. Or it's the rotten wood.
Shops a lot.
I did. All the time.
And what would you get?
Just coffee.
Do you think those hunters are gone?
We're about to find out.
Joel! You would be a basic bitch. I guess not everyone can have an actual ridiculous order like I do. when they go for coffee. It's fine.
It's clear, Ellie. Come on down.
Oh.
I'll withhold my judgments for now.
You ever stayed at a place like this? Before?
Joel's probably just embarrassed to admit that he would get a pink drink. Music.
Oh, I really miss coffee. Oh, it's too high. Let's see what we can
That is a
find.
wall. I understand they're trying to show me something beyond the wall, but that's just a wall. Hey Ellie. Do you see anything good down here, ma'am? Hello, Travis. Thank you for the contribution to the alien stream. Pink drink is good. That's what I'm saying. Joel doesn't have to be embarrassed that he likes the pink drink. Pink drink, good. And again, can't have a completely ridiculous order like I usually get. It's fine. Forget that I have to shake my stupid controller every so often. It's fine. Everything is fine. Emmy, thank you for the contribution. David, thank you as well.
Take my luggage upstairs.
You are a weird kid.
She's 14 and never been allowed to be a child. Okay, listen, Joel, I love you, but also, we gotta find that combination. It is important that we find the note where that combination is located, right? Gotta get the stuff. But yeah, how's everyone doing today? How has your Saturday been? Good, I hope. Joel, where are we taking this? Hey, Joel? Is it there? Do you want it there? I'd assume so. It's a hard hat area. We gotta turn around. Excuse you. Hey, Joel, do you want to climb? Why are we doing this? Okay, we've done it. Great.
Come on up.
So it's X. You hit X to climb up ladders, right? I was doing that and he wouldn't climb. It's fine. Whatever. Gotta recover from all those margaritas, Emmy.
Oh, shit. Get down, get down.
Where are they?
Betcha not. We done here?
This is fine.
Oh, man.
They don't even know what happened.
I got him!
Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Nah, just barbecue. Oh! Hello! Oh, boy. How insanely loud is that? This is fine. Are you really just gonna run at me? My dude. Sound is fine? Okay, hold on. It is extremely loud for me. So I'm gonna turn that down just a little bit. Because that shotgun is blowing out my ears. Which is extremely unfortunate. Is he dead? Anyone else? Are we good? No, we did. No one has said that we're good. Hello? Okay. That's the wrong button. No. I don't have any arrows. This is fine. I guess I could probably make some stuff. Let's go ahead and do listen mode distance. And make some explosives. Maybe another Molotov? No, hold on. I should not do that and actually make one of those. Okay, this is fine. Hey, Ellie. Are there any more men? Hello? Joel just crouching like that for ages makes my knees hurt. Oof. This is fine. Everything is fine. Hey, Ellie, do you want to move? Maybe? I would like to get past you. Thank you. Ellie! Bro is over here trying to body block me. Stop. Stop. Also, I assume I've missed whatever note had the safe code on it, because we're kind of far away from where that was. That is unfortunate. But fine. Hello? Do we... Did I get everything? I feel like there should be more rooms. There were. I think. Yes. Okay. Okay. This is fine. Still hear the the fire crackling in that room. Oopsies. I'm sorry. Sometimes you just have to set people on fire. They won't go away. Won't leave you alone. We gotta enforce those boundaries. Sometimes it just happens to be with a Molotov. Why are we concerned by this? Okay, this is fine. I think? Is this... This area is very large, and it all looks the same. Okay, I understand where I am in relation to literally everything else now. This is fine. Yeah, no, I got it. I'm going there. We're going there. Don't worry, game. Also, why are you giving me a hint here but not at the other place where I got lost? Answer me that. There is a man there. And there are many men over there. Oh! Yes, I want to exit photo mode. I don't, however, want to get up. Wanna check it out? I wish it was easier to sneak up on people. Or I guess not necessarily easier. There have been a few times where they definitely had not noticed me, right? But I was like haven't been able to strangle them. And other times where it's like they very clearly knew I was there, but I could still sneak up on them. It's a little unfortunate sometimes. Hi. It's fine. Oh, hello. Hello! Hello! Sir, please! There we go. Hi, TK! How's it going? How are you doing? We're just doing some casual murder. Oh, hello! Oh, hello! Where? Where are they coming from? There's one man over there. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the contribution to the alien stream. Oh. Do you not see my light, sir? Oh no! It has been super chilly lately. Lazy Saturdays are good. Get out of here. Okay. Okay. Glad you're doing well, though. Thought I heard him still breathing. Give me this. Give me this. I can't reload that. That is full. Alright. Alright. It helps that I, like, am getting more used to the controls. At this point. I'm not struggling with that nearly as much. Which makes doing murders that much easier. Give me that brick. But yeah, I'm glad it's being a good day for you. That's a bottle. That was a shadow that spooked me. Pills.
Oh, creepy.
Gross. Gross is what it is.
Easy way out, huh?
It ain't easy.
Also,
Many it was better than letting a clicker or hunter do it for
grip
you.
it and rip it.
Trust me, it ain't easy.
Sometimes you just need a little soda. Oh. It's down there. Wait, before I go down there. Is this the way that I'm supposed to go? Because I don't want to go there yet. That definitely can't be the way I'm supposed to go.
Whoa. Spaceship.
I can see that 100%. Everything's so dilapidated is the word that I was trying to say. And then I forgot what it was. It's fine. It's all fine. What's here? I don't know. David, please. I get it. I get it. That's a good goof. I'll give that joke one heh. I guess it was technically two. That's fine. I suppose. Sorry, there was a lot going on at that moment when you made that joke. I think I mentally acknowledged it, but then didn't say anything about it. I'm sorry. This is fine. Do I get back up this way? How did I get down here? Came through here, didn't I? No. That is a classic Fruity move. Just saying. This is the wrong way. Okay, this is fine. I still haven't fixed Big Brian. I can bring him out, though. I can bring him out, though. Just know that I won't wear him for very long. Because he's falling apart. I still haven't fixed him. I haven't had the time. Yeah, we've maybe you weren't here for that conversation. Big Brian's fallen apart because he was made very quickly. He's got like a big hole in the top, which is hard to see because it's all aluminum foil, but there it is. It's got a hole in him. And the inside is a whole fucking mess. I love how I'm trying to show you this, but it just looks flat because he's aluminum foil. But I'll wear him for a little bit, just for you. But know that I can't wear him for very long, because I don't want to break him. I don't want to break him any more than he's already broken. Brian deserves better than that. I'm being careful, but I can't help it if I get spooked and I jump or pull away or something. I keep telling myself I'm gonna like reinforce him and or remake him, and I plan on doing that. I just haven't had the time. Ooh. You be carefuler. Listen. Big Bro, I don't like that. I don't like thinking about Big Brian with legs. I didn't do a murder on him. You have no proof, Fruity. I mean, honestly though, TK. For real? Big Brian with my legs? I mean, I guess technically it's not wrong, but I do hate it. No, I love Big Brian. Big Brian does need his own legs. I need to find like a good place to like put him. I love him on. I love him sitting on John back there, but I need like a stand for him.
It'll be a tight fit, but
I do have a bunch of like mannequin heads for wigs. I could technically like prop him up on one of those. Joel, where are you going? Joel, a thick boy. Do you wanna...
you find me something.
Emmy, please.
Go, go. There we go.
Get up there, Ellie. Please, this elevator's gonna fall and I'm gonna die! Well, Joel's back is broken.
Joel!
Hey.
I'm alright. Are you okay?
No! You scared the shit out of me!
Hey, you should probably not be yelling up there, Ellie.
No!
No, don't do that.
Stay up there! I'll make my way up to you.
Don't do anything stupid.
Oh, I'm gonna do all the stupid things. Just you watch. Hello?
Where to now?
Is that where you want me to go? I want to go where they don't want me to go so I can get items. Like this. I need to... I keep saying I'm gonna do this. I need to, like, move everything around, which is one reason why I've been, like, cleaning a bunch. So I can rearrange, like, my streaming area again for the billionth time. But honestly, I just want to, like, find an easy, or, like, a better place to put my webcam. Hold on. Excuse me. I want a better place to put my webcam so I can move it around more easily. So, like, with the big Brian redeems, I can, like, I don't know, put him on a mannequin head and just move the camera so that it's staring at Big Brian for a little while. Or show off the cats a little more easily sometimes when they're doing cute shit. But that's a pain in the ass to figure out how to do.
I think I've tried over there yet.
Like, I'm here for it. And I'm glad that you like the idea as well. But I just don't know, like, how to do this. Maybe? I don't know. It's mostly just, like, I think it's a lot of me just trying to figure out how to organize the area better, as opposed to, like, getting more stuff. I would love to get a better webcam than what I've got, because mine is kind of garbage. It's worked well for what I've been doing, but I would like a higher quality one. So I don't know. Honestly, probably just assistance moving with stuff, or moving things. For my local friends. Hey, if you want to come over and move my desk with me, let's go. No, it would probably just be moral support more than anything. Yeah. Alright, let's go, Fruity! The kidnapping is happening. That's fine. I don't need the desk anyway. I don't know. It's not so much like... It's been really nice just, like, moving things around. And doing the deep cleaning that I've been doing. Where am I going? By the way. But, I don't know. I just get so, like... annoyed with having to do it. That sometimes just having somebody, like, sit in the room and do something else while I'm doing shit is nice. I don't know. I'll hit you up, Emmy. At some point. I guess Fruity can come too if they can get a plane over. I don't know. My space is weird, and it's so limited, and, like... It's just weird. It's a weird space. I don't know where I'm going, and this is a bit of an issue, and I hate photo mode, and I need it to go away for forever. Is it here? Can I go here? No, because I'm walking here. I'm walking here! Was it here? No, can't go very deep here. I got to talking, and then I lost where I was and what I was doing. This is fine. I think this is just a side room. I don't actually need to... Nope. How do I get back? Help! I'm bad at directions. Oh, you thought about going under. There we go. Hey, Joel, if you could move so I could, like, see where you are, that would be cool. Where are we now? Hi, Sam. I decided I was gonna make myself extra cute today. So I did. So thanks for noticing. How are you doing, friend? How is it going? Everything is fine. I figured out.
Oh, shit.
It's fine. It's just rats. It's fine. It's just rats. I'm gonna take Big Brian off for right now. Because I'm wiggly. And he's gonna fall. And he's gonna fall. I'm trying to think of where I can put him so you can see him. So he's really close. That's gonna be bad because I'm gonna hit my head on him. Hold on a second. I mean, I am a 24/7 cutie. We know this. We know this about me. But I decided to enhance the cuteness. Hi, Llama. Oh, stretches. Can you see her? No, because my... I am blocking her. Look at her. She's right there. Look at her. She's right there. Look at her. Look. Look at her. She's looking at you. You can't really see, but she's looking at you. She's a good lumpus. We love this lumpus. You're a good lumpus. Listen. We love you. Yeah. You want some treaties? Would you like some treaties? Are you gonna drool all over everything if I give you some? Eat them. You can see her slightly wiggle as she tries to eat the treaties. Crunch, munch, munch, crunch. Also, thank you, Emmy. I tried to mess around with the bot earlier to get it to function, and it was not wanting to. So that's a little frustrating. the little baby wiggles. Look at her. Look at her. You're off to your right, Goober. You're licking the blanket. Further to the right. To the right more. There they are. Lami is a goof. An absolute goof. But yeah. Welcome in, friend. Oh. The Lumpus has reached maximum goof. And it's very good. What was I saying, though? I have forgotten. That's okay. Stream setups. That's what I was talking about. My space is fucking weird and awful and just set up terribly. They have set it up very poorly when this house was built. Pickle water is back, it's true. Where do we go? Hello? Yeah, like the electric and how that's set up in my house is fucking dumb. Oh no! Our hotel! It's broken!
Oh no! Our table! It's broken!
I realized you were trying to say, like, my house is broken, which is accurate. But I was looking at this terrible hotel that we're in. I also forgot that I had changed your sound command to that, Emmy. So thank you for reminding me. But, no, it's bad. Like, there are so few grounded outlets in this entire household. Died on the toilet. Tragic. Like, Emmy's familiar. Emmy's familiar with how bad my house is set up. But, excuse you. In this room, in the loft. What is my living room? Joel, attack! Joel! I was spamming hit. Sorry. This is ridiculous. Murder door. It's murder door time. Yeah, in this room, I have 2 outlets that are grounded. One of them has 4 outlets in it, and the other has 2, but they're on the wall that I'm facing here, and then on that wall. That wall only has the single, like, outlet that is grounded. You piece of shit. But it's just bad. It's just bad here. It's bad. And I think I only have 1 grounded outlet in my bedroom. Where all the other outlets are also doesn't make any sense. So the way that I can, like, set things up in here is extremely limited. It's dumb. Can we go? No. Okay. Anyway, I hate my house. And it's bad. Yeah. Old farmhouses. They're garbage. Magic. The electricity gets in by magic. Obviously, David, come on. Get with the program. Is there nothing in there? Tiny wizards live in the plugs. It's true. It's true. Okay, Joel. Joel, swipe your card. Swipe your key card there, buddy. Let's go. Not the socket gnomes. Are you... I don't like it here. Hello? Generator. It only took me a while to figure out that it was the power that was out. It's fine. Look at us.
Damn it.
Nope, that's the wrong button. Is... Oh, that's a big boy. That's a big boy. I was not prepared for the big boy. It's fine. I see you. Like, I know you're chasing me, buddy. It's fine. Look, not even an issue. Don't even have to fight like any of them. We just blew up one of them.
So much for that.
Don't laugh and cough at the same time. Oh, that hurt. This is fine. I know how to escape situations sometimes, usually, generally. Again, now that I've gotten more or less used to the controls, aside from constantly activating photo mode, I know what's up. We got this. I do actually want to see if... Turn that shit off. Turn that shit off. Ha! I'm never gonna activate photo mode ever again. There was a brick in the toilet, which is basically like ammunition, so... I think I win this one. Just saying. Just saying. I don't have level 3, which is unfortunate. But that's okay. We want... Phono mode is correct. This is correct. Clip capacity would be nice. Also, reload speed. Also reload speed on the hunting rifle would be great. I would love that for me.
That'll do.
It's not... You're not wrong. Sometimes people do be shitting bricks. Whee! More scrap. I don't think that's enough for me to, like, get another level up, though. So that's fine. Oh, we're full up on binding. I should make a bunch of stuff. I'm realizing that, we got the ability to make some things, right? I don't have a melee weapon. That's a bit of an issue. There wasn't any in the hallway, was there? Fuck. That's too much fiber. You've got too much fiber in your diet if you're shitting bricks. Consider instead eating some Activia. Okay. Now what? Here. Are you a clicker?
Down. Finish it. I got
Doesn't
it.
matter.
Nicely done. Fit?
I mean, it was fine.
Not today. You?
Not today. All right. Spread out. Make sure we didn't miss any more.
Not the Activia sponsorship. Can't see me, sir. I despise this. Where is his pal? Pals. Plural. Many pals over there. Oh.
A body has been discovered!
Holy shit. That scared the bejeebus out of me.
Fan out!
Guy, you're moving too quickly. I can't get him. He's moving too fast!
Huh?
Get him. Get him! Fucking get him! Got him. Got him! Sorry. I get very excited when I manage to do a stealth kill properly. I know we usually associate me with, like, busting into rooms, guns blazing, fucking shit up. But I like stealthing. Game's got a good stealth system. I want to do that. Nope, that is the wrong one. Beautiful.
Oh, you're here.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Can't see me, sir. Got him. Self-thread shoot only. Nah. No, we're just gonna shoot people in the head. It's gonna be great. I love you all. Oh my goodness. Is that everyone? Look at me doing so good! Very pleased with myself. I mean, sometimes. Listen, Sylvie, only sometimes do we say, screw it, running in. And that's usually because I've done it very bad, and then I've been noticed, and then it's like, well, fuck it, this is easier now. We're gonna be sneaky. Everyone's doing it bad now. But yeah, hi, welcome in, Sylvie. How are you doing? How are things? Yeah, Sam, how are you doing that with your arm? Not the pretzel arm. Is there... There? How do I get there? Everybody's arms doing weird things now, and I am concerned. Hello? Do I have to go into the freezer? I mean, I don't have to, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. Okay. Game. Where do I go? That door is locked. That door is locked. How do I get up here? Is this where I'm supposed to go? Sorry, I'm lost. Again? There is a ladder. I see it. Okay. Well, maybe the ladder shouldn't be on the ground. Have they considered not putting the ladder in a stupid place? Where do I... There. I see. Instead of putting man in hole, we put man in freezer. I learned this from the eye bank. That's my face! Joel, you're gonna drown, buddy. You should probably not drown. Consider... His man is pissed. Get him, Ellie! Fuck yeah! That's my baby!
I shot the hell out of that guy, huh?
Yeah, you sure did.
I feel sick.
That's okay. If you need to vomit, do
You
it.
just hang back like I told you to.
Well, you're glad I didn't, right?
I'm glad I didn't get my head blown off by a goddamn
Also, why
kid.
does it look like
You
that?
know what? No. How about, hey, Ellie, I know it wasn't easy, but it was either him or me. Thanks for saving my ass. You got anything like that for me, Joel?
Hold on a second. Sorry, I just looked at
We gotta get going.
the playback
Lead the way.
on OBS and it looks fucked. It does not look like that to me. Did, like, the display options get changed? Does it? Does it look fine? It looks weird. It looks real weird. Yeah, it shouldn't look saturated, is the thing. Is it because of the HDR? Is it because HDR is on? Hold on a second. We're gonna save. And we're gonna quit to menu. It shouldn't be that red. Let me tell you. I thought maybe I had like a filter on. Well, I'm glad you didn't notice. But, I don't... How do I... There we go. Does this... Extremely orange zombies. Apparently resetting the settings. Turned off HDR. I think that's what it is, but I'm not sure. So we'll see in a hot second. Not the Florida zombies, please. Bad. Bad, bad, bad. It's not a tumor, it's a fungus. That still looks so orange. Why does it look like that? Okay, hold on. I might be adding a filter just to see if that makes it better. No, that made it worse. That looks a little closer. Excuse me. That looks a little better. We'll try it there for the time being. Straight up, I just turned the saturation down a little bit. I don't know why it's coming back looking like that. The only other thing I can think of is, you know what? Hold on a second. Let me hop on over here real quick. Sorry, I want this to look good. It shouldn't be this orange. And yet here we are with it looking orange. Hold on, I'm gonna close that out. And we're gonna start it back up. And see if just closing my program makes it better. It kinda did. Okay, so then let's hop on over here again. Hi, we're troubleshooting. Orange is gone. That was weird. I just closed my program and reset it. Or just, like, opened it back up. It's now... like, all of the orange is gone, which is not quite accurate. But we'll take it. Oh no. Take Dexter and Neville to your mom's. Don't worry, we take good care of her. Gonna miss the orange. Orange isn't gonna come back anytime soon. It's now, like, completely removed any of the orange tones, which is not ideal. But it looks better. It's fine. Okay. Like, there's no warmth in that picture, and there is warmth in the game.
Find that bridge.
I'm not gonna worry about it. This looks better. It's better than the orange. As much as you might miss it. I guess it's overcompensating for the orange earlier. It's like, oh, no orange. Okay, no orange then. Dang, I didn't even want to use the orange budget. Yet here we are. Ellie, you good? You just killed a man. You feeling all right? Listen. Sorry, excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. Alright, what do we got? Any more good items? Melee weapon upgraded? Nice. Nice! That sounds like a future stream problem. We'll cross the bridge of missing orange when we get there. What can I say? I love leaving me issues for later dates. Ellie, are you, trying to say something? Yeah?
That's a backdrop. People would take their pictures in front of it.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah?
Okay, then. Something on your mind, Ellie?
I wasn't trying to disobey you back there. You were taking a really long time, and I thought maybe he's gotten into trouble.
That's a future Kayshurrr problem. Facts, though.
No matter what you thought, I need you to listen to me.
Joel, stop being salty.
Whatever, Joel.
She cares and she helped you, and it's a good thing she came. You were gonna die, my dude. Listen, you were about to get fucked.
That door looks like a way out. Hey, you see a way to get up there?
Nope.
Pretty blue fire. Always.
Might be able to get there with this.
Alright. She's just not gonna help me.
Have a hand?
You sure you can trust me with that?
Ellie,
Oh my god.
push!
I am.
Push harder!
Sorry, this just reminds me of
Let's go.
the bit in the new God of War where Kratos yells at Atreus a couple of times. He's like, "You have to do what I tell you, boy!" And then Atreus just like straight up starts ignoring him and doesn't do any of the shit that he tells him. Kids, you gotta love them. Love that game. New God of War was good. There's a bottle over here. But I want that brick! But I want that brick! Dad of boy. You should. You should absolutely borrow it and play it. It's very good. It's a very good game. Would recommend. Give me that.
Oh, shit. Come here, keep your head down.
This looks like the bathroom. Sorry, I just saw your comment, TK. Absolutely. We're gonna get slimed.
What about me?
You stay here.
This is so stupid. We'd have more of a fucking chance if you let me help.
I am. You seem to know your way around a gun. You reckon you can handle that?
My baby's growing up.
I sort of shot a rifle before, but it was at rats
Rats.
with BBs.
It's a little
It's the same
different.
basic concept. Lift it up. All right, now. You're going to lean right into that stock, as it is going to kick a hell of a lot more than any baby rifle.
Okay.
Go and pull the bolt back. Grab it right there. Just tug it. There you go. And as soon as you fire, you're going to want to get another round in there quick. Listen to me. If I get into trouble down there, you make every shot count. Yeah.
I got this.
Sorry. It's I'm a human that is extremely, like, anti-gun. Do not
Just so
dig
we're clear
them.
about
Don't
back
like
there.
them. Whatever. But this is such, like,
It was either him or
a
me.
stupidly sweet moment. All over a gun. Fucking love these two. Okay, before we do this, before we go kick ass, I do need to pee. It is pee time. So hey, y'all should also get up, take a bathroom break, maybe grab a snack, get some water, do a quick stretch or something. We'll be back in just like in a couple of minutes. I might also just get rid of my lipstick at the moment because it's starting to bother me, but it's fine. So yeah, we'll be right back. I love you. It's very good. Hi, I'm back. And I'm ready to go. If y'all are ready to go. Are you ready to go? Because I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go? I'm ready to go. That's just how? How? I don't know. Anyway. I'm here. I'm ready. Shall we?
You're all fucking dead! What the hell's he yapping about? Take a breath. Who's dead?
The whole crew. The 76 lookout guy. Some fucking tourist killed him. Kill all of them.
Shit.
Fuck!
Sorry, that was very good.
Spread out!
Get him, Ellie! Beautiful girl. She's got this. You know what? Let's also just rifle our way through this. Where is everyone? Can you stop throwing shit at me, my man? Oh, goodness! I forgot I have a scope now! Okay, hold on. No farts. None farts. Hi. You bitch. Okay, that could have gone a little better. That's fine. So maybe we do just kind of sneak our way through. I don't think Ellie shot me. Pretty sure that wasn't Ellie.
Where the hell are you, man? Huh?
Get 'em. Get 'em. Get 'em. Got him. Great. That's a lot of dudes coming over here.
Hey, you found anything? There?
Okay, not nearly as many. They just looked far more grouped up than they actually were.
Spread out!
This is fine. Right? This is fine. He definitely saw me throw it, but I think it took him a minute to process what was happening, which works great for me. Like, I'm fine with that. Go check it out, man. What was that? What was that? What was that noise, huh? Dang, I wonder.
What was that?
Nothing. Wasn't anything. Absolutely nothing. Hi, Lou. How's it going, friend? How are you doing? There. Is that all of them?
All right, come on down.
Ellie didn't get to shoot no one. But that's okay. We're doing alright. We are snotty. Excuse me. No, we're doing good. Things are getting a little better, which is great. It's been a weird couple of weeks, and it sounds like it's been a weird couple of weeks for a lot of folks. But we're doing great. Happy to be here and hang out with my friends. Right? We can live with snotty, but good. I mentioned it earlier. I was doing a bunch of cleaning earlier, and so I've just, like, kicked up all the dust.
A little more your size. It's for emergencies only.
Okay.
Yeah, that video game, super popular video game franchise, Life is Weird. Perfect. Also, Ellie has a gun now.
Do you know how to switch it off?
I do.
Okay, you gotta respect it. This is not...
Joel, I'll be careful.
Okay.
Joel be worrying. He's so concerned. Ellie's gonna pop a few bitches here right quick. It's gonna be great. We're so proud of her. I love Ellie so much. And Daddy Joel. Everything is so good. Ugh. Okay. We gotta... Ellie is perfect, and I need her to understand how perfect she is. Because I don't think she gets how perfect she is. Also, I love how, like, big a lot of these levels are, and I've just done it so bad. Or good? That I haven't needed to, like, explore all of them during, like, the fights and stuff. I remember, like, the first couple of times that I played through this game, I was, like, running between cover. I thought I was so cool being sneaky and using, like, the entire environment, and here I am now just being like, I just stand back here. I will throw this thing. No one will catch me this way. It's so good! If you, like, I don't necessarily want to call it horror. I mean, it is. It fits under that genre. But if you like survival horror stuff that's, like, very, very heavy, with a narrative, would highly recommend that you play it. It's probably one of my favorite, like, story games. It's the way it tells its story is just perfect in every capacity. I adore these games so much. Well, I adore this game. I haven't finished the second one, and I wasn't super impressed when I tried to get through it. But I plan on revisiting it sometime soon after we finish this one. So that we can play it with everybody. Get everyone's opinion on it as we're going through it. And see if a lot of the stuff that I had issues with is still an issue for me. It was all mostly, like, story related, but not for a lot of the reasons that gamer bros, quote unquote, were upset. Rats. Anyway, but yeah, I would like to try and finish it. So maybe sometime soon.
Alright, do your thing, Ellie.
This one is so good, though.
Stupid chain is stuck. Hold on.
I am.
There.
Problem solving. Good job, Ellie.
It's good thinking.
Oh, no. Don't.
Help me open this.
Here.
I didn't actually mean to grab that, but I think I need it? Do I need this? It's fine. No, I do need this. I just need this not over here. What was I doing? Is it stuck? No, it's fine. We're fine. It's perfect. We've done it so good. Don't even worry about it. Sometimes you just have to put stuff in a silly place and be like, oh, ha ha ha, that's a good joke. Look at this joke that I've done. And then run away. That's how that works, right?
All right, let's do this.
Let's do this. Holster for a second pistol. Holster for a second long gun. Let's do the long gun holster. So that I can easily swap between the two. Great. I should probably switch this back to our shotgun, though. Because I really only, like, use the revolver if I'm using any of our littler guns.
Oh shit, get down, get down.
But I'm regularly swapping between the bigger ones. Can't do anything. Ellie, I'm sorry.
No.
Jesus Christ, my guy.
Busy couple of days, huh?
Whatever, man. Damn, no food, old pair of shoes. We got nothing. Let's go.
You didn't even check the other dude. You didn't even check the other person. Dear God.
Oh, man.
Ain't nothing we could have done.
I know. It's just... Oh, man.
It's gross.
Let's just get to that bridge.
Okay. Anything cool over here that I can collect? Nothing. Great. If we could not be here anymore.
Well, at least they finally killed that couple. I was sure they made it out of the city.
Yeah, Ellie, I know.
Pickup truck, they
I know.
Army man. How the fuck did they wipe out the entire crew over there? Keep searching. I want to wrap this up before sundown.
This is a problem. Fuck! Okay, that's fine. This is fine. This is fine. I just saw through the world. This is fine. It didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to, but hey. It's fine. Did we die? But did we die? It's true. We got a quick peek into the void. But that's okay. That's what happens sometimes when you get really hard in the head. Or get hit hard in the head. You just get a quick glimpse into the void, and it's fine. We got them on the run. Most of their forces have retreated to Liberty Avenue. Come midnight, we strike. Gather every able body and arm them. If you can stand, then you can fight. Anyone that refuses to fight with us will be banished. Anyone that supports the army will be made an example of. Tonight, we put an end to this tyranny and start a new life for ourselves. Here comes the void! Hello, void! Ah! Very good. It's also a very good hello darkness, my old friend situation. It's fine. We're fine and safe and it's all good. Again, but did we die? I love getting a little closer to the outer gods. This looks like a fight area. This looks like an area where we're gonna be fighting. Ooh.
Pray to God these tours show up. Huh, they gotta show up somewhere. I think this will be your lucky day.
Those men are very far away.
Joel, on that second floor, right there.
No, I see them. I see them, Ellie. Thank you. But I know they're there.
Yeah, I see him. Stay low.
This is unfortunate. That's how we handle that. There's a man there. Okay. We got 2 dudes upstairs still. How do I get up there? I don't know that I can. I should be able to get up there, right? There. That's how. But there are 2 dudes over there. A couple of folks over there. Can I collect any supplies from in here? There are bombs everywhere, so I need to be mindful of that. Wouldn't want to blow ourselves up, now would we? How embarrassing would that be? Ellie, please don't run. I need you to not run.
Hey, you hear they finally caught the guy and his girl?
Who's left then? It's the guy and the kid, right?
Them. Whoever was in that pickup truck.
That was us. We are both of those. Oh. Okay, this is fine. Okay, down you go, buddy. Shh, good night. Turn around.
What was that?
Turn around. That's not turning around, man. Which way are you going? I need you to decide. Got him. Good. Great. Fantastic. Wasn't even worried. Wasn't even concerned. No fear. Only action. We got this. Look at how good we're doing. What was that? Oh, that's a man coming up here. That's a man coming up here. Sir, I don't think you should be coming up here. Sir?
Hey, we got a man down here.
No, you don't. You wanna... You wanna come here? Yeah, like that! Good job, buddy! I think that was my arrow breaking, though. Okay, well... We're not doing too bad. We can't go up there. That's a dead end. Can they come this way, though? Hello? I wish I had more arrows. I appreciate the fact that you can, like, pick them up. Assuming they haven't been used too many times. Like, you can get multiple uses out of them, but... wish we could... get more of them. Stop wiggling? Y'all want to stop wiggling? Y'all move around too much. Okay, that's fine. What, didn't somebody go upstairs? Or did I think they were going upstairs? I thought they went upstairs. I assumed. Ellie! Ellie! It's like, look, I've hit moving targets before. I just can't plan when they're just bobbing back and forth a whole bunch. It's difficult. I'm bad at it, is what I'm saying. Okay, let's... Yeah, no, listen! Ellie! Don't even worry about it, my dear. We got this. Where was that bad noise coming from? It's fine. It's all fine. Look, we've got this handled and under control. It's not even an issue. You don't know where I am. You have no idea where I am. None. Zero. No clue. I don't know if that's gonna reach. It's not. That's unfortunate. Okay, well... we'll just shoot the men in the head. Ouch. It's fine. Ellie will cover us for a minute. And we got this. There he is. Why are you not dead yet, sir? There he goes. You can usually tell they've died because they go flying.
What? Oh,
Yeah, the comic thing, Joel. Remember the comic that Ellie likes? Okay, well, we got one arrow back. To be fair, we got through quite a few men with just the 2 arrows. I'm not upset by that. Give me all of this scrap? Fantastic. We've done it so good! Hold on. Can we make some more things? Possibly? Maybe? Let's go ahead and do that. We have so much binding as is. We don't need to set the Molotov off just yet. Also, look at all these good things. I mean, I should probably use one of our other... Probably use our pistol. Considering we're full of ammo for that. Just light it up and then pop it back in your pocket. Is that not how Molotovs are supposed to work? That seems wrong. What is this? We finished scouring the city for any survivors. There were a handful of soldiers hiding in the hotel. We took care of them. A bunch of us raided their stockade, or what was left of it. Most of the big machines got fucked up in the fighting. We won't be riding a tank anytime soon. Likewise, none of the heavy artillery is salvageable. The one exception is the Humvee. We've managed to repair it, including the 50 cal mounted gun. This thing is impenetrable. I'd like to see someone fuck with us now. Sounds like y'all living out some weird power fantasy, and I need y'all to not. Look, I get it. Government fucking sucks, and the way that they've handled this, probably not ideal. But also, I bet all these people are anti-vaxxers.
Jeez.
You can tell that a situation like this is extremely unrealistic, because the government actually had some sort of action against the outbreak. Immersion ruins. Cries. Let's go. Joel, go up. Apparently I can't climb the ladder while I'm looking up.
We're almost there.
Hey. Just wanted to... Was she not up there 2 seconds ago? Or was I just imagining shit? I might have been imagining shit. Ellie's just teleporting. It's fine. Enjoy your nap.
Back in the Boston QZ.
Did have one. It was trashed by the previous administration. I mean... Yeah. Yeah. Not that we're doing anything about it now either, though.
Hey, there's another one.
We need this exactly a month from now. Yeah,
Bushes
it's
are everywhere.
bad. It was bad. Still bad.
Let's go
It's not
through
even
that.
just us, though. Like, so many other governments have also just done it so bad.
It's all right, just keep your head down.
Not even close. Keep going. Oh, 20?
Okay. A lot of us fucked up pretty regularly when trying to handle the pandemic.
Military locker in the hotel from back in the day. Me and Ruben stumbled on it. Split it right down the middle.
You coming out here? What are you doing?
You think I want some? Yeah, I bet you do. Man, I'm safe you had some that liquor last week.
Got him. The Humvee there. Man is here.
Son of a bitch!
You didn't see me! Okay. Sorry, I thought that music was like it being like you've been spotted, and it's like the fuck I have. How? Actually, how? Get the fuck out of here, sir. How did you see me? You shouldn't have seen me. Oh well. Most of them still don't know where I am. Okay. How in the world do I handle that thing? Like, I see the man inside. But something tells me I can't shoot him. So maybe we just don't deal with that and we walk away. Yeah? No, I want the bottle. I like the bricks, but the bottles actually make noise. And that's great. Perfect. Perfect plan. I'm Joel, the sexy Humvee. Okay, this is a bit of an issue. Big gun, big gun. This seems incorrect. I mean, yeah, it's bulletproof, but there's a little hole there. We should probably... You're right. How could I be so silly? How could I not realize? Oh, hi, sir.
No shit!
Sir, I shot you in the face. Oh. Is there anything cool over here? Absolutely not. It's fine. It's fine. We didn't actually need anything anyway. Okay. Look. This is clearly not working for either of us, buddy. If we could stop shooting at me, maybe? Consider less shooting at me and more me finding where I'm supposed to go.
Fuck me!
It's fine. I don't like him shooting at me, though. Joel. Ellie. Ellie. Ellie, I need you to shoot him. Oh my god. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Ouch. God, they hit hard. Ah! I didn't realize he could get back here. I mean, it was just a tiny fence stopping him, separating him from me. But it's been a while since we played a game that gives you the good Kayshurrs, hasn't it? Oh boy. Speaking of good Kayshurrs, Elden Ring comes out at the end of this month, right? I don't think I would do a full series of it here on Twitch, but would y'all want to see that? My plan was, if I wasn't gonna stream it, I was gonna probably like play it in Discord in my server a little bit. Not gonna, listen.
I think we lost him.
I don't know. I guess would people be interested in that? I want to... That's pretty much just what I'm gonna do all of the time. Hey, Joel? Okay, thank you. He, like, would not go up against the wall for a second. A Lil. You want to see a Lil? I was gonna say, I could do, like, you know, the first couple hours or whatever. Because I plan on just, like, binge playing it when it comes out. Doing it all on stream seems extremely impractical. I wouldn't mind, like, sometime next year doing, like, a full Elden Ring run through at some point, but that would give people time to, like, play it themselves, and also for me to, like, separate myself from it, because I will, like I said, be binge playing it a lot. So maybe we'll do, like, a stream or two. That first week it comes out, we might do a stream or two of it. Just to mess around. Show it off. And then if people like it, I can, like, play it in, like I said, in the server or whatever. Because that is all I will be doing. It needs to be understood that when Elden Ring comes out, you will not see me for a little bit. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Oh no! Sorry, I forgot about these people.
Joel, stop! Look.
Leave him alone.
Oh my god, not me already, like, getting teary-eyed over this. Oh god.
It's all
Okay.
right. They're not the bad guys. Lower the gun.
They even fucking said, like, the guy and the kid, people in the truck. My dumb ass. Oh my god. Okay, this is fine.
Too.
Everything is fine.
And that's all you. If you haven't noticed, they don't keep kids around. Survival of the fittest. It's just nothing. I'm Henry. This is Sam. I think I caught your name was Joel.
Ellie.
How many?
Hi,
was it?
Legis. Thank you for the contribution for the alien stream.
There were a bunch of us.
No, you know that.
Someone had the brilliant idea of entering the city, look for supplies. Those fuckers, they ambushed us, scattered us. Now it's all about getting out of this shithole.
We can help each other.
Ellie.
Safety in numbers and all that.
She's right. We could help each other. We gotta hide out not too far from here. Be safer if we chat there.
All right, take us there.
Follow me.
Fuck. Okay.
Sorry about the whole gun thing.
Don't worry. I would have probably done the same thing. Where are you from?
All the way from Hartford.
Really? I heard some bad stuff going on.
Oh, okay. Like I said, it's been a long while since I've played through all this. I forgot about them. It's fine. Everything is fine. I'm not crying. You're crying. Hey, we get a wider explosion radius for our Molotovs. That's worth it, right? It's worth it, right? Oh, okay. This is fine.
We gotta be careful. We're right next to one of their lookout areas.
Hi, Allie. Sounds like it was a good nap, though, which is good and important. Naps are important.
I promised someone I'd look after.
Yeah.
But howdy. Good. Good. I'm glad it was a good nap.
Sweet.
Okay. Gotta steal all the things. Hey.
I bet Ellie'd like this.
Another comic for Ellie. Look at all that equipment. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. Supplies, items. You love to see it. Can I make some things? We are full up on stuff, which is wonderful. I do love that for us. But I also want to use some of it so that... What's that noise? Healing speed would probably be better. Shiv Master would be really great. Maybe we'll save up for that. How much do I need? 75? And we're at 50. Okay. We can make that happen. I have too much rifle ammo. Can we make some more things? I need more alcohol before I can make another Molotov, but I think, like, we're pretty much topped off on supplies and items, which is really nice. This game does a very good job with providing you enough ammo to comfortably get through stuff, but still have a little bit of pressure. So you have to be smart about not using everything up. We appreciate it for that.
Wait. Everyone be quiet.
You should probably get down. You should probably get down. There you go. Good job. Good job, buddies.
They're gone. Man, that fucking truck. It's been hounding us ever since we got in this damn... Sam, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Get rid of it.
My backpack is practically empty.
What's the rule about taking stuff?
It weighs like nothing.
The rule. What is it?
We only take what we have to.
That's right. Now come on.
How far is this place?
We're close. Real close.
You gonna get it, Ellie? You gonna grab it? Oh, is it because I'm looking? Look, I'm not looking. I'm not looking. It's gone. Hey, look! Uncharted! The board game! Jack and Daxter! The board game! Cause I'm full on stuff. I got all the things. It's very good. Sorry, I don't think I ever, like, noticed the board games before. I appreciate that. Alright, let's go. Let's go! Move, children! Let's go!
Shit. Ellie, you watch our back.
Someone was up there, but it's a long gone.
So where are the others?
They wanted to give it another once over.
Okay, can we...
All right. Keep an eye out over there. I'll check this area.
No, no you won't. No you won't. You know why? Because I'm gonna set you all on fire! I missed every single one of those fuckers! Ugh.
We did it. Not bad, old timer.
Look, I did more about that situation than you did.
Up on this truck.
I have already forgotten his name. That's fine. I just remember that the child is Sam. It's fine. It's all fine. else here, so let's go. Oh. Oh.
Get him!
Or don't get him. That's fine too. It's just not even an issue anymore. It's great having company. Folks you can rely on. Okay, then open it.
Through this door.
Okay, then open it.
It's safe, being so close to them.
I'm the only one with the key, man.
And where'd you get that?
Kill one. You know, that's it now. Everybody through.
Okay, but who's to say that somebody else doesn't have a key? Slash, who's to say that they can't just break the door down? Consider... Forgot Firefly pendants were a thing. Clearly I'm invested in collecting them all.
You're 14, huh? I'm close. All right.
I am.
Oh, buddy. Y'all are still babies. Got any items? Just jumping over desks for no reason, Ellie.
Here we are.
Whatever, ma'am. You do you. Okay. Nothing else here.
Welcome
Great.
to my office.
Oh, I have to
How long have you guys been holed up in here?
A few days.
change how I'm sitting.
We found a bit of food, though. Here.
Blueberries. Found a whole stash of them. You want some?
No.
Hey, man, relax. We're safe.
So why haven't you left?
Been waiting for the right opportunity.
And?
Here. Check this out. Look at these sons of bitches. Every day they congregate down there, guarding that damn bridge. Come nighttime, it's down to a skeleton crew. After sunset, that's our window. Most of them gone, sneak right past them.
That could work.
Oh, it'll work. It'll definitely work. Wow.
Totally fine.
Ow!
A blueberry hurt you?
It's been a while since that boy even cracked a smile. She doesn't seem bothered by all this.
So where were you heading?
Heard the Fireflies are based out west somewhere. We're gonna join up with them. Something funny?
Oh, it just seems like there's a lot of people putting their stock on the Fireflies these days.
Yeah, maybe there's a reason for that.
So you don't know where they are, and you're just gonna drag him across the country to find them?
I tell you what, how about I worry about my brother, you worry about your girl.
Easy. We're looking for the Fireflies, too.
Jill's not a great people person. We know this.
This is us. There's an abandoned military radio station just outside the city. Any survivors?
Sir, I
they're
think
supposed
most
to
things
meet
are
us there
abandoned.
tomorrow. You and your girl, you want to join us? It goes down tonight.
I guess we best rest up then.
He says it's time to go.
Let's go!
No, we're gonna be moving fast, okay? So no matter what, you stick to me like glue.
Like glue.
Like glue.
Got it.
Good, good. All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, y'all stay close, okay?
You tried this before?
Yeah.
That's comforting.
Relax, old man.
I just hope you know the way.
Just wanted to see if there's anything in here. Any goodies? None. There's some scrap in here, though. Happy about that.
This way.
Okay, let's go. Wait, but what's up here? Nothing, it's blocked. Never mind. Anything cool under there? Nope. I just want all the items, that's all. Excuse me, coming through. Excuse me, coming through.
Hey, I'll follow your lead.
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all out of arrows.
Just trying to keep warm. How's it looking up there?
I want more arrows.
Think they're still in the city?
They're still around. I'm gonna do another round. Watch your back.
Yeah, me too.
I got both of them. Great.
Move up.
Hold on, I want to make sure nobody's coming for us. Before we move up, make sure no one else heard. Listen. Well, that's unfortunate.
Something to hide behind.
Do we have... We have lots of people trying to show up. That's exceedingly unfortunate. Mostly for them, but also for my bullet supply. It's fine. Sir. Oh!
I know that sound.
You know nothing! You heard nothing! I definitely have bullets! Don't even worry about it! Okay. Kids are just hanging out over there. Good for them. At least they know to get out of the way.
Search the area. He's around here somewhere. Let's check the street. You, check down the hall.
Yo, Joel, there's a guy on that light. I see him.
Throw that there. And then maybe... Molotov those two? If they would possibly get a little closer to each other? Consider? I'm not gonna do it. Okay, well...
Let's keep searching.
This is not great.
Hey, he's over here.
No, I'm not over here. You are mistaken. Get out of my way. You will be the actual death of me. Hey. Where'd he go?
Help! Get back!
Oh, 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 oh! Can't see anything, which is a little bit of an issue. It's fine. This is not the greatest way of handling that situation, but it worked out just fine.
Did it.
Again, did we die? No. So it went all according to plan. That's how that works, right? Alright. If they could give me some more ammo, though, that would be cool. I'd be happy with that. Would be extremely pleased about that. Perhaps? No? Okay. I can't make anything. Great. How are we? We are 10 away from being able to get the Shiv Master upgrade. Which is nice.
Give me a hand with this.
All right.
Henry.
You ready?
That's his name. Oh no. Not even, wasn't even worried.
Wait.
Hey, they're over here!
Oh no.
Henry!
Got him. Come on, everyone.
Okay.
Keep
Thought there
your
were
eyes
more
open,
than
we
just the
ain't
one
out of
guy
this
and I
mess yet.
panicked. I mean, always. It's always a trap. Do you want up here?
All right, check it out.
Oh gosh. You just always have to assume the worst is going to happen. And then you'll never be disappointed, right?
We're good. Sam, let's go.
All right, kid, come on.
Oh no.
There you go. Come on. Shit! Hurry!
Oh no.
Okay, we gotta get him up.
I'm sorry. We're leaving.
What? What's this bullshit?
Hey, now!
What the fuck, Henry?
Oh no.
We stick together.
Thanks, Ellie. Let's go. Let's go! Let's go! It was very nice of them to wait to shoot me.
Oh, fuck.
I appreciated the hesitation. Okay.
Sounds like they found him. Spread out. They might come through here.
No, everyone's moved away.
What the hell? There he is.
Ugh. Let's just throw, I guess that goes there? Nope, never mind. He's gone too far away from it. We'll just yeet Ellie. It's fine. Dude, can you not? There we go.
Oh, man.
I mean, you gotta consider the possibility that you are the baddie. It's fine. Okay, where is literally anything? Hey, Ellie. Do you think maybe... Yeah, but that's... Hey, but it's locked. Look! It's... it's got chains on it. So where do I put this? So that we can get somewhere neat. Nowhere. Here? Okay.
Alright, let's get underneath it.
Gotta run. Gotta run. Time to run. Time to run. Yikes, 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 yikes. They are a terrible shot. Look, I understand that it's not necessarily the most accurate of weapons, but...
How many bullets do you have left?
They're gonna kill us.
What other choice do we have?
We jump.
No, it's too high and you can't swim. I'll boost you up, you run past them.
You gotta go! It's time to go!
You keep me afloat.
Ellie!
No time to argue.
Ellie! Oh my god! Idiot child, I love you, but please! Man on the run! Don't hit the rock! Don't hit the rock! Oh no. This is fine. This is fine.
Henry! He's awake!
Fuck you, Henry.
We're alive. Okay.
See? What'd I tell you, huh? He's good. Everything's fine. You know, Sam's the one who spotted you. You guys are taking quite a bit of water. What's wrong? Henry!
Get back,
hey,
son!
hey. He's pissed, but he's not gonna do anything.
You sure about that?
Stop!
Joel?
He left us to die out there.
No, you had a good chance of making it, and you did. But coming back for you meant putting him at risk.
Listen.
If it was the other way around, would you have come back for us? I saved you.
You saved me too.
Ellie,
I
don't
would've drowned.
buy into this. Just, listen. That's some
Nice. I'm
back
okay.
ass words logic you got there.
You know, for what it's worth, I'm really glad we spotted you. Now, that radio tower, it's on the other side of this cliff,
Oh my god.
okay? Place is gonna be full of supplies. You're gonna be really happy you didn't kill me.
I mean,
Hey, we're
absolutely.
gonna search this area. See what we come up with.
That was intense. You cool?
No.
Yeah.
Not cool.
On that radio tower.
Everything is bad. There's nothing over here. Grow. Okay. What are you doing over there, Ellie?
Hey, maybe we can find something in that boat over there.
Perhaps. There's a crab. There's a crab. Get the crab. Couldn't get it.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, we're
Way ahead of you, kid.
peeling eyeballs. Don't worry. It doesn't take much. Doesn't take much to turn me into a grumpy old man, okay? Don't leave Joel and Ellie to go die, or I will be very
It's a
upset.
little bit different in the water.
My goodness, I didn't want to look at that. I want to make things. Hey, let me make things. do a shiv. That would be nice. What were Molotovs? Right? How can he not know? Fuck. I love Henry's brother. Sam is precious and just wants to be a kid. And everything's bad. It's the apocalypse. Nothing is good and you can't be a kid. Henry, though? Henry, listen.
Hey, Ellie! I think we found something.
Let's go see
Yeah?
what it is.
Okay, well, before we do that, it looks like there's a thing over here, so we're gonna go look at that. Whoa. Look at all this stuff! He probably does know we're the protagonist, which is why he left us, because he's like, well, fuck you, you've got plot armor.
For a second there, I thought you might shoot him.
Yeah, almost did.
They're all right. I think it's good to have him around.
Hold on. I'm trying to swap weapons, and sometimes it doesn't want to do that for me. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Ah, yes.
Hey, I bet this goes all the way through.
A sewer grate. You love to see it.
Give me a hand with this.
I will in just a second. I need more rags. Can't make a Molotov without rags.
All right, same time. Come on.
Let's do it.
Let's go!
All right, come on, kids, go. All right, there we go. All right, you go in. Okay.
Teamwork! Good job, everyone.
Hey, flashlights out. Sam, stay close. Someone's finally learning.
Definitely doesn't know that part. 100% doesn't know that part. He only ever got to the plot armor bit of things and then stopped paying attention. Which, fair.
Alright, we'll check this side out.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of this place.
Neither am I.
It's blocked.
If you push hard enough, you can get it out of the way.
If you can get it open, I can crawl through and clear that door.
Do it.
Oh, that is a big rat.
It's fine, Ellie. Just go crawl around with him. You'll be fine. Good job. Hey, y'all, what are you doing?
Hey, this way! Looks like there's a path up ahead.
Okay, well, we're gonna look at this thing first.
And...
Thank you, Ellie. Oh, Ellie, you can't... Okay. Ellie said me first. Whatever you want. Sewer's note. I'm gone for a few months. The world doesn't waste any time going to shit. Everywhere you turn, they're infected and non-infected trying to kill you. Mankind is back to the food chain, baby. I'm kind of shocked I've survived this long. Whoa. These sewers seem pretty safe. Limited exits, entrances make it easier to defend, and if anyone gets in here, I can lose them in the maze. Might not be tough, but I am quick. Maybe I just need to bide my time down here until it all gets sorted up there. I think I'll become a sewer mole man for a while. Wish me luck. How well did that go? They are! Why do they keep doing that? Because my internet drops for just long enough that... Okay, they should be back on. Thank you for noticing that. Sometimes my internet will drop even for just like a split second and it'll make my caption program just freak out and be like, oh, no more captions ever. I don't always notice it, so thank you for pointing that out to me. It is now back up. I should keep an eye on that. I wish I could set it up to, like, make a noise when it goes off. Captions, just let me know that you're broken. That's all. I don't want to go. I don't want to go back there. Want to scoot? Scooch. Bugs. Very confused as to why there were outside sounds all of a sudden. It's fine. We got this figured out.
Nah, there's no way to reach that.
That makes total sense.
It's jammed. All right, Joel. How do we get across?
Guess we gotta figure something out.
Time to take a swim.
Hey, this thing was some kind of...
The way we flail under the water is very good. Okay, Joel, if you could just, like, swim under the water, that would be nice. Hey! Get it. Get it. Good job, Joel.
Henry, give it a shot.
Oh, okay. Henry's doing it.
Y'all wait there.
All right.
I'll just hop back into the water, I guess. Get on through.
I'm gonna have a look. You keep an eye out.
Joel, we're already over here. They know that we're looking. Like, we're already over here, bud. Listen. Hey, I have enough for the Shivmaster, which is great. So now I can protect myself against clickers if we get grabbed. Which is awesome. I wish I had had that earlier. We haven't seen clickers in a hot second. Shivmaster sounds like the bass-o-matic. There's a bass-o-matic. Is this a sound or a fishing thing? I spoke too soon. I hear him. Bass-o-matic. It's fine. Joel. Listen.
Yeah. Still in one piece.
We're fine. It's fine. Not particularly. I kind of like my jugular where it is. Call me picky, but I prefer my body parts to stay, any and all of my body parts to stay where they currently are. Alright, what is this? Yesterday I met some people that did not want to shoot me on sight. Shocking, I know. We traded some supplies and went on our merry way. They had kids with them and they seemed pretty scared. I almost told them about this place. Wonder if they're like the others. What if... You know what? I don't care. What's the point of surviving if you don't have someone to laugh at your lame jokes? Tomorrow I'm gonna search for them. See if they have, or if they want to join me in here. Ish. Oh, I also forgot about this. I like my throats where they are, thank you. My throats? I only have the one. Well, this is fine. Don't worry about it. There is a lot about this game that I had forgotten. I remember the overall experience, not all of the details. Come on, Ellie.
Go, Ellie.
Oh, there you go. That's smart.
Ah, I can't wait to get out.
Little did everyone know, I am actually a horrifying monster. Just wearing a human suit. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. Hey Ellie, do you wanna? Okay, you don't like that there. That's fine. Get. Good job.
That generator still got some juice.
Here goes nothing.
No one suspected anything ever. Oh, that's a bad sound. Hey guys!
Can't believe it actually worked.
Yeah, don't jinx us.
Hey guys! I need on. Can you send it back, please?
Hey,
Are you
we should
gonna-
get going?
Are you gonna pick me up? Mom, I'm scared. Pick me up. Okay, I see. I was like... I just live on this side now.
We're pros at this by now.
This is fine. Oh, goodness. Also, it sounded like zombies. I thought I heard some zombies. I can't swim.
You think there's people inside?
Yes. No, there were. I found the note.
It's a sort of alarm.
I don't hear anything.
Someone used to live here. Don't look like that's the case anymore.
House rules! Important, please read. Make sure doors are locked. Ask for password if you don't know the visitor.
Place like this safe.
No shouting and noisy play. Run to hiding spot when you hear the alarm. Give. Yes! Yes! My beautiful boy. Okay, they're gonna go that way, so I'm gonna go over here.
You hear that?
Quiet.
Oh, are you all following me? Oh, okay. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, that's a clicker. Joel, just take your time, I guess. This is fine. This is fine!
I guess we know what happened to these people.
Yeah.
There was a clicker that had been going for a while.
We keep moving forward. All we can do is hope there aren't any more of them.
Let's go ahead and get our revolver back out. It's a good gun. We like it. We're here for it. Anything cool in here? Anything cool in here? Alright, what do we got? Hey Susan, I just wanted to drop you a quick line and say these rain catchers were a great idea. Super smart to gather water without leaving the place. Hope you don't mind, but I gave the kids a couple of water guns. So of course, I've been drenched all day. If you don't want them to have it, let me know and I'll take them back. See you at dinner tonight. Fair warning though, Kyle's making a special meatloaf again. Ish. Thought that was a thing. Neither. Joe's pork and beans. Blue Rain. Maxi Clean. Okay, before we continue on this way, I guess let's go the other way? Well, let's go back this way. I wanna... Never mind, I can't go back this way. That's unfortunate. Okay. Can we... perhaps... Hello? Okay. Sad. Cornered note. We're trapped. I think everyone else is dead. Some of the little ones are with me. I got infected pounding at the door. I don't know how long we'll hold out. If Fish and the others are alive, maybe they can reach us. If it comes down to it, I'll make it quick.
Jesus.
They didn't suffer. Oh my god. Okay, it's fine. Everything is fine. It's all fine. Everything is fine. I want this, but it only lasts 3 hits. But I think most of those hits are, like, deadly? I'm gonna stick with my pipe. I like my pipe. Ellie, don't go in there. Infected? Y'all are making a lot of noise.
Hey,
Just
think that
saying.
one's out?
Could be. It's too hot for a boost.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
But that's
another
only
way.
like 3 kills, though. I don't necessarily, like, wanna waste it, you know? Oh.
Yeah, I'm cool.
That was me. I must have triggered some kind of safety gate or something.
I don't know. We've been doing pretty alright with regular melee, so... It's always a trap.
This is awkward.
Always.
I know, it's like every time.
Clickers!
What?
Hey, this thing isn't budging, man.
Just go. Get out of here.
Sam, you stay close to him.
Henry, we gotta fucking move!
You keep him safe. Go!
I'm gonna... Well... I'm gonna try! That's a lot of clickers. Okay. Okay.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I know.
All right, come on, kid. See if we can find a way out of here.
Fire axe is very good. I mean, if I find a fire axe, I will 100% be taking that with me, but I'm indifferent to the machete. Oh no. Oh, I'm really glad he didn't notice us. Oh boy. This is fine. Welcome back. Oh, I hate this. Ma'am, I was swinging before you went and grabbed me. It might be good to just kind of get in here. let's just beat the shit out of this zombie. This is fine. Everything is fine here.
Infected.
Yeah, I mean, we're good. It's fine. Oh, that's not what I wanted. They're giving us a lot of ammo for the sawed-off shotgun, so, like, let's just start using it, right? Are we playing hide and seek? Is that what's happening here? Oh, goodness. Stop wiggling. Come here. Oh, it's very hard to tell the difference between these stupid runners and Sam every once in a while. Because they're all just hunched over and running around. I am going to shoot this child, and it's going to be horrible. Stop hobbling around like a zombie. Please. Get out of here.
You did it.
We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, because I'm not shit like your brother, Sam. Look, I get he's trying his best, but his best is bad. Listen. Let me tell you about how bad your brother does it. Don't have any blades, and that's a bit of an issue. Because I need those for the things that I want to make. Give me that. Give me that. What's up here? Is there anything worthwhile? Not really? Okay. More ammo. You love to see it.
A lot of them here. People, I mean.
Looks like it.
More things. Hi, Bunno. How's it going, friend? How are you doing? This board is kind of garbage compared to the bat that I just had, but that's fine. Because it does have some melee stuff attached to it. Great. Yeah, welcome in, friend.
It's like a classroom.
Where's she going?
How can they keep it safe?
Son, I wish I knew. God knows they didn't deserve it.
Kids drawing. Danny and Ish are protectors.
You think you can knock that ladder down?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Get. Come on, child. Get. Sometimes you just gotta throw a kid up a wall. Nothing wrong with that. It's very loud.
Good job, kid.
Is that Ellie?
Absolutely. Who else would it be?
Joel, that's them.
Oh, thank God. We gotta keep running.
Whoa! This is fine. We're running. Don't worry, we're running.
Ellie, get away from the door. Maybe if we push it together.
You could just reach through the bars and take it out.
He just broke through.
He what?
Sam is taking the initiative.
Getting us out of
Go.
Good job, Sam.
Let's go.
Also, before we get up there, let me just equip a weapon that has more ammunition. Just in case. No reason, really. Just to be sure. Give. That's a lot of stuff you're giving me, game.
Damn thing's stuck.
Here, give me a boost. I can get through that window.
Open it from the other side.
Make it fast.
Okay, just kidding. I want this back.
You're not staying in here. What about you? I'll be fine. Come on, go.
I can make one of these. And I can make one of these.
Get ready.
Hey, you're gonna want to not be there. You're gonna want to not be there. Why are you so bad at this? Henry! They were practically all on fire. Oh, reload. Ah! No, I'm stuck in an animation. Please. This is fine. Okay, but are there any items that I would like? Because I kind of want some items. It's fine. We've done it great. Let's go. Yeah, no, I know. I'm aware. I'm coming.
Go.
Right. The worst. Whoa, okay. We did it.
Fresh air.
Look at this.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me?
Lol.
Thanks for the warning on the other side, guys.
So where's this tower?
I mean, I don't know that they thought anyone would come in from
We're close.
the ocean.
Come on, let's go.
Good job, everybody.
How you doing, little man? That was a close one, huh? Yeah. Not one of our finest ones, but we made it out.
Yeah, listen, Sam did great. Okay. Sam did good job. Don't dead open inside. See, Last of Us did it good. And, like, knows how to write things so you read it properly.
Hey, look at that. Yep. What'd I tell you, huh?
Oh, we're looking at the tower. I thought we were watching the birds.
What about you? How you holding up?
This is fine.
As usual, right? When I was with Henry,
Let me go look at that
I got a couple
view.
infected by myself. Makes me proud.
Yeah.
Sam did do good. Perfect. Alright. Let's get some items. Shall we? Re-up on some
Pretty intense
supplies.
back there, huh?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
How did you two end up together?
Oh, a friend of mine, Marlene, asked him to be the fireflies.
In the wrong though.
Yeah, well, now I just boss him around. Isn't that right, Joel?
Hardy har har. Give me that. Is there anything else? There are a lot of buildings here that I can loot. This is gonna take a minute. Go upstairs? I didn't check upstairs yet. Hello? Notes! Another night, another shooting. I could see the muzzle flashes coming from the Carsons' windows. Stayed up the entire night with the whole family in one room. Doubt anybody got any sleep. It's only a matter of time before the looters try to break into our house. We have to get out of here. That skinny man approached us again. He traded more of his bullets for some of our food. He offered us to join him in his hideout. Says it's secure and more importantly hidden. Easily defendable is how he described it. He said that the only reason he trusts me is because I have kids.
Well, that wasn't a good idea, now was it?
Not house flipper mini game. Alright, we found a shitty neighborhood. Time to clean it up. Let's go! Had a long day fighting some zombies. Do you want to clean a house? For some well-deserved rest and relaxation? I hated that aspect of Fallout 4, honestly. I barely did it. I made those houses so shitty. Just the bare minimum of what the people in the towns needed.
Shoot on sight.
Glad I'm not alone in that.
First few months after the outbreak, they had a lot of loot. Everyone got paranoid.
It's very much not easy with a controller.
Cordyceps hit. My memory's pretty hazy, but I remember living in a neighborhood just like this.
What do you remember?
Barbecues.
Man said he was 5 when the cordyceps hit. It was 20 years ago. Confirmed.
I remember the smell more than anything.
Okay. Because there's no way that he is 15. No way.
Aw, doggies.
You're gonna want to stay away from those. It's not like it is in the zone. These are wild.
Doggos. Workbench. Gib.
Let's see what we got.
Give me the extra pistol holster. Wow, we have a lot of scrap. Let's get reload speed on the shorty. I mean, those would be nice, but it's not really necessary. Clip capacity and recoil for our shotgun. And then reload speed for the hunting rifle. Clip capacity for the shorty. And we'll do recoil on the shorty as well. I am happy with that. Great. I appreciate the fact that, like, the upgrades are kind of optional in this. Like, you don't really need any of them to get through the game at all, but it does make it a little easier. Yeah. What's this one? Kara, you're the adult while I'm gone. Take care of your brother. He's looking to you for protection now. I won't be gone for more than a few days to gather food and supplies. If for some reason I haven't returned after a week, take your brother and head to the Pittsburgh quarantine zone. Don't open the door to anyone but me. Save your bullets. If you have to leave, stay low and move quickly. Use your size to your advantage. I'll see you soon. Dad. Rip. Give. Can I make some stuff? Can we get rid of some of the things that we have? can't hold another one of those. I can make another Molotov, though, which is great. Okay. I guess I'll make one of these. I never use these, but that's fine. It's so small! It's so square, right? Tiny monitor. What a what a wild time. It's weird to think that, like, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, yeah, I guess I was thinking just the screen itself. So small, but it's thick. And you know that thing weighs at least like a solid 30 pounds, if not more. I don't miss this. These huge weighty things. Yeah, it weighs a solid 30 on only the one end. And that TV definitely at least 90 pounds. Get out of here, dogs.
Oh, this is an ice cream truck.
An ice cream truck?
Yeah, Henry told me about these. They sell ice cream out of the truck.
What? No way, Joel?
Yeah. Yeah, they did it.
It's true. This thing drive around and play real loud, creepy music, and kids would come running out to buy ice cream.
You're totally fucking with me.
Serious.
Man, you lived in a strange time.
Told you so.
Yeah, I mean, the technological advances that we have are pretty freaking great. I just wish that we were better about things. That's all. Lots of posters.
Is anybody else hungry?
Yes. Hey, guys. We break when we get to the radio tower.
Alright.
I mean, that's true, though. The world has been varying degrees of awful. You would just think, granted, I know that it's not the case, obviously. You would think that, given everything that we have available to us, though, we could have solved a lot of the issues. It's just made it worse in some ways. And that's extremely unfortunate. Okay, what's upstairs? Are there any pills in here? None. None pills.
There's no.
It's astonishing how shitty we can treat each other. One open door. That's all it took. One of us forgot to close the door and a horde of those monsters entered our camp. We shut them in where there and wrote a warning on the outside. Susan and a couple of the kids are with me. As far as I know, we're the only survivors. I had to hold Susan so she wouldn't run back in there, go back for the bodies. It's just too dangerous. She lost her children, and I have no clue what to say to her. Every part of my being just wants to give up. It'd be easy to surrender to, or so easy to surrender to this world. Can't do that though. I have too much faith in humanity. I've seen what that we're still capable of good. We can make it. I have to stay strong for her. Ish. Buddy. Listen. It's not great. I'm sorry, move on. I don't have the combination for that. That's unfortunate. Haven't seen that. I probably should. Matchbook. 82131. That's our code. That's the code we want. Arrows. Give arrows. Thank you. I'm surprised I'm not more sniffly considering all of the cleaning that I did earlier. But I'm not gonna complain with it. I haven't. I don't gravitate towards comedies. which shouldn't shock anyone.
Sam? Be careful.
I mean, I'm here for oddball humor. Absolutely. I mean, you haven't. I just don't, like, I don't know. Like I said, comedies aren't really anything that I, like, actively seek out, generally speaking.
Fucking sniper.
And I still don't know that I would enjoy it.
We're down the street. All right, now, y'all stay here.
No.
Before you start, I need you guys to keep him busy. I'm gonna go around and see if I can't get the angle on him.
Okay. Hey, be careful.
Gonna be careful, Ellie, don't worry. Okay. How am I gonna do this?
There you are. I still fucking see you.
No, you don't. You see nothing. Oh. This is fine. This is fine. No, I mean, I know who all's in it, but it's still just like, again, I just don't usually seek out comedies. They're not really my jam. Okay, this is fine. We've just been punched a little bit. And that's okay.
This ain't your turf, man.
Hello? Where is he?
Yeah, hide in that house. See if that helps.
Do you think I could, like, shoot him from here? No one is manning that rifle. Which seems a little wrong. Hey, that's far too many people. Really is a ghost sniper. Are you? How are you not set on fire, sir? You just walked through that like there was no issue. This is gonna suck. Joel, chill. There was nowhere I could go. That was definitely, I just have to watch this happen, because if I get up and run, I'm gonna get shot and die. But if I stay here, I'm gonna burn to death. It was just a bad situation.
Go back to where you fucking came from.
I was behind the fucking wall, my dude. Oh my god. I'm not in the house. I mean, I am now, but I wasn't. Get out of here, my dude! How many times do I have to shoot you? When will you learn, old man? How many times do I have to teach you this lesson? It's really unfortunate that that only really hurts the one dude. Okay. Hi, guy. I just heard all of my blood escape my body. That was extremely not great. Where was that man? There he is. Hi. I think we're done here, my dude. Alright. Men are still on fire. It's fine. Not even concerned about it. You don't, though. Listen. You don't know where I am. I'm sneaky scary. You don't know where I am. You don't know that I'm here.
When's your little body gonna come out?
There's literally no one there. This ghost sniper. Your gun isn't even pointing at me. Oh my god.
In that burnout building!
Hi. Where are you? Can you stop?
Come on, man. 2 ways out of this.
I see you!
You piece of shit, I was throwing that! I am on fire now. Ugh. This is fine. Everything is fine.
Nothing.
Get him, boys!
Can you stop?
Get him, boys!
Stop!
Ah, there you are!
Yeah, I know how to change weapons, game. I am aware. Please. Did that get him? It didn't get him. That's really upsetting, actually. Hey, do you want to come here? Thank you.
Where you going? Huh? Where you going?
Okay, this is going to be a tad difficult. Never mind. It's actually going to be extremely easy to get back here where the sniper can no longer tag me. I was expecting that to be a whole dang thing. And it's actually fine. And we've more or less cleared everyone out, haven't we? So it should just be the sniper, right? Let's go ahead and make one of these so that we can immediately use it, because oh boy, are we hurting. And once we get through this section, we'll probably call it here. I haven't streamed too much longer than I normally do on Saturdays. But, I need to use the restroom. And I should probably eat some food. And with all that having to happen, might as well just end, right? This has been a lot of fun, though. Like I said at the start of stream, we'll probably get back to Spirit Hunter at some point. But I just don't feel like dealing with all of the bad translation issues that come with it right now. So it'll have to wait. We were. Oh. Yeah, you get him, Joel. You get him, Joel. It's sniper time. I missed. That's extremely unfortunate. It's fine. Joel, it's fine. Okay? They're gonna be okay. Where is Other Man?
Come on, guys.
Other Man is over here somewhere? Other Man is there. Other Man is no longer there. Oh, please.
Dead asshole.
I think we're okay, actually. I am manning the gun now. Also, I'm glad everyone's managing to get some naps in. Rest is important. Oh, this is a problem. How? Man ducked down as I was shooting at him. This is not great, but it could be worse. Oh. This is fine. This is fine. Oh, God. That should have hit him in the universal weak spot, and it did not. And I'm a little upset about that. This is fine. There was a man over there, and I don't know where he is now. Come on, pop your head out. Come say hi. No, that's not how you say hello. Come here. Pop your head out. Say hi. You bitch. How do I keep missing? There we go. Hi.
Shit. Oh, that was intense.
You all right, Sam?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Thanks, Joel.
Let's go.
Look at this.
All right. We did it.
Come on.
We should move.
Yeah.
All right. Sam!
I couldn't shoot. I was not allowed to shoot for a second there.
Sam, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You sure?
I said I'm fine.
Come on!
Let's move!
Hurry up.
Nope, I missed. That's unfortunate. Nope. Bullets are much faster than I keep thinking they are. No, I can't aim down that low.
No.
Fuck. This is bad. We gotta go. We gotta go. It's time to go. It's time to leave, I think.
You're okay.
Still here. Anybody hurt?
No, we're good.
I think it's time we quit this place. Come on.
Let's go! Go on, get!
Shut the
Okay,
hell
maybe
up.
we'll continue a little. We'll finish out this section.
It was Tommy's birthday, and that's all he wanted to do is just rent 2 Harleys and drive cross country.
Oh, man. I could die happy if I could just ride one around the block. What was it like?
It was good. It was real good.
Good. Can you believe this guy? Come on, man, give me details. Describe it.
You know what? You two deserve a little privacy.
No, Ellie. This isn't just any regular motorcycle, okay? You get on that bad boy, you feel that engine? Nothing like it.
Oh, yeah? How would you know?
Seen it in my dreams.
You should decide so I can raid into you or not. Just saying.
I don't think anyone from my group is gonna show up.
There was talk of us playing video games after this. If folks are still up for that.
Explaining to Sam.
Well, it's safe to say those two have officially bonded. What are you doing?
Taking stock of all the food we found today.
I see. And how are we doing on canned peaches?
Did Henry send you?
No? Why would Henry send me?
To make sure I'm not fucking up somehow.
I'd say we all did pretty good back there. Especially you. Is everything all right?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Okay. Well, have a good night.
How is it that you're never scared?
Who says that I'm not?
What are you scared of?
Let's see. Scorpions are pretty creepy. Being by myself. I'm scared of ending up alone. What about you?
Those things out there. What if the people are still inside? What if they're trapped in there without any control of their body? Scared of that happening to me.
Okay. First of all, we're a team now. Okay, we're gonna help each other out. And second, they might still look like people, but that person is not in there anymore.
Henry says that they've moved on, that they're with their families, like in heaven. Do you think that's true?
I go back and forth. I mean,
My babies.
I'd like to believe it.
But you don't.
I guess not.
Yeah. Me neither.
Oh. All the serious talk. I almost forgot. There. If he doesn't know about it, he can't take it away. All right. I'm pooped. I'll see you tomorrow.
Don't throw it, Sam! Mr. Bite Hider. cries.
Damn. That smells good.
Morning.
Where's Sam?
I let him sleep in for once.
Oh.
Well, if you want him to join us, you can go wake his ass up.
Okay.
He got bit on the, or when he, probably when they got ambushed by the zombies. When I was manning the sniper.
The hell? Shit, he's turning! That's my fucking brother! Screw it!
Shit!
Chloe, gotta get you all right.
Oh my god.
Sam?
Oh no.
Sam?
Henry? Henry, stay there. Henry?
What have you done?
I'm gonna get that gun from you, okay? Oh, okay, easy.
It's your fault.
This is nobody's fault, Henry.
It's all your fault.
Henry! Henry, no!
Oh my god.
And that's our first season done. Okay. Oh boy.
Means we're close to Jackson City, right?
Should be more than a few miles.
You ready to see dear old brother?
I'm just ready to get there.
You nervous?
I don't know what I'm feeling.
So we'll save here. This is probably what we'll play tomorrow for stream as well. Unless I decide that I'm ready for Evil Within 2 or something. But, on that lovely and bright and wonderful note, we're gonna end stream here. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna scooch some things around. Turn off my PlayStation so it stops sounding like a jet engine. Because we don't like it when it sounds like a jet engine. Yeah. Yeah. Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. It's a good time. Good time was had by all. Right? Had by all. Okay. Looks like I have 2 people online who are also open to suggestions. But, we've got Happy Go Gucky and ATM Zero doing, or Gucky is doing some Legends of Arceus, the new Pokemon game, and ATM is doing some Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Either of those sound good? Anyone in particular that we want to go see? Does anybody have any suggestions? Okay, let's go raid Gucky and accuse them of being a bidet. I did see that I got a follow from Bidet Official, which is wild. I thought they only sponsored Hit Save Cyril. Now because yeah, it says right here on the screen. Bidet Official is my latest follower. Let's go raid Gucky. Go say hi to our friend. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central, probably with more of The Last of Us. Unless I decide, like I said, to start The Evil Within 2. Who knows? We'll see. But until then, take care of your dang selves. I love y'all. This was delightful and fun. I kind of, like I said, I've been enjoying doing, like, the longer streams. I'm gonna see about switching my schedule around and seeing if maybe we'll start that this next week or the week after. Who knows? Who knows? But thank you for hanging out. Take care of your dang selves. I love y'all. Have a good rest of your time zone. We'll see you next time. Bye.